Dice Company contains fantasy violence, mature themes, and unapologetic bickering. No feelings were hurt in the making of it, but listener discretion is advised. Dice Company will always be free, but it's not free to make. Please consider supporting us on Patreon or Apple Podcasts and get access to our weekly roundtable show Extra Roll. Just follow any of the links in the show notes for this chapter.
The city of Shale. Once the jewel of the northern coast, carved into the hills like a crown no one remembers placing. It was home to a navy, the envy of all in Athlon, which once slept in its iron harbours. But that was before the Great Freedom War. Before the Empire scuttled the ships and salted the trade routes. Now the northern winds whistle through empty towers and forgotten vaults, where noble names rot like old wine. The city still stands, barely, a lower city slumped in fog and filth, a middle tier crawling with squabbling factions and rusted coin. And high above them all, Mourner's Keep watches the sea, mourning nothing and no one. In Shale, power is a rumour, loyalty is for sale, and the past is the only thing which grows richer with time. After a successful 4-day journey, the Sterling cuts through the night sky. Below, the city of Shale emerges, a sprawling network of narrow streets and stone buildings, stacked upon one another like a vertical labyrinth. Gas lamps cast pools of amber light across the city's cobbled thoroughfares, illuminating the steeps, closes, and wines that snake between towering tenements of dark granite. The city rises dramatically from the lowlands towards its crown, Mourner's Keep, as Vander has identified, a formidable fortress perched atop the cliffs that overlook the sea to the north. As the Sterling descends, the night air carries the mingled scents of coal smoke, salt from a nearby harbour, and the distinctive aroma of Shale's famous distilleries. As you approach, you begin to hear pops and bangs from beneath you. A quick look reveals fireworks bursting into the darkening sky. Cascading streams of colourful light in all directions, which illuminate the hull of the Sterling. It seems there is a celebration happening in the city.
Tock, be so kind as to remind me of the date.
Vander, the date is the 6th of Midwint, according to the current Empire calendar.
Then this will be Renaissance Day in Shale.
Petren is taking in the fireworks. What's Renaissance Day, Vander?
Petren, it is a celebration in our city of the day Mourners Keep resisted the forces of evil that tried to take our capital from us.
And what forces of evil were they? Was this a recent event, or is it something quite historic?
You ask a good question. Evil is often defined as otherness. They were, of course, the others, making us the victims of their evil, and of course, God, whichever you choose to care for, was on our side that day.
Which gods, Vander?
Irrelevant talk, though. I appreciate your interjection as ever. Now, if you don't mind, I must tend to the docking of the ship. Otis, to the rail.
Yes, Vander.
And Petren turns to Tock and says, I thought Vander said that to speak of good and evil was a childish concept. This is all new to me. The human celebrations are very confusing, aren't they?
Vander has said that contradiction is the height of sophistication. I am unaware of the definition of this word.
We are all children in God's eyes.
Which god?
Vander, which gods?
Ah, look! A free dock. Prepare, the ship will now wheel left. Hold on, boys.
Welcome one and all to Dice Company's Small Embers Chapter 71, where a group of friends weave tales of triumph, heroism and despair under the guise of playing Dungeons & Dragons. My name is Tom, and I'll be your DM through the continuing adventures of this Level 9 adventuring party. Level 9 adventuring party, please introduce yourselves and tell us one fun fact about your characters.
Hi, I'm Alex and I'm playing Seeksorrow. And when Seeksorrow was a young man, he went for a job as a caretaker at the Frost Hollow Academy for Boys.
Oh, fucking hell.
Oh my.
We're back. We are back.
Because it was a job interview, even though it was for the role of caretaker, he wore his funeral suit, which is the single smart suit that all Seeksorrow men possess. But there was a mix-up, and he was ushered in very quickly to a job as a philosophy teacher. And Seeksorrow is a man who likes to say yes. But unfortunately, knowing nothing about philosophy, his morning at the Frost Hollow Academy didn't go that well. And to cut a long story short, he had to escape through a window.
How does Seeksorrow compare in age with Augustus?
I'd say they're about the same. I think... Oh, yeah, I've got it. Okay, so Augustus was 25 when he met his untimely demise. Seeksorrow is 27.
So Augustus wouldn't have been one of the students having fun with the substitute teacher.
No. I think Seeksorrow is probably having fun in his morning as a philosophy teacher.
Hi, I'm Charlie and I play Vander Finnick. And for my fun fact today, I thought I'd go something in relation to Vander's previous hometown. So returning home stirs many thoughts in Vander, but among these is the joy of once again sampling one of No Refund Nottle's infamous all-part sausages. A dish so mysterious, even the sausages aren't sure what they're made of. They're definitely not pork, as Nottle himself admits even pigs have standards. Usually right before shouting no refunds at confused customers, but each one tastes slightly different, which only adds to the ever-expanding mystery. Still, drowned in gravy as thick as paint, they remain a local delicacy. Even the locals swear by them, and often at them, depending on the aftertaste.
So does the amount of gravy used make it technically a soup?
Well, again, you're running ahead of me. Vander will, of course, mash these to paste so we can taste the delights once again. But
Wonderful.
You guys don't have to, just so you're sure. But really, you aren't. In fact, you really shouldn't be sure at all.
Oh my God, that was so good. That's probably your most Pratchett-y fun fact, I think.
Yeah.
There's a heavy Pratchettiness there.
And therefore, I love it.
Hello, my name is Dave, and I play Petren Oakflower. Now, Petren may be a level 9 adventurer these days, but at heart, he remains a druid. And therefore, during his recent stay in Sanctuary, he did a bit of tree planting. He created a yew grove on the edge of the village to memorialize Augustus and Seraphina, the yew being the tree of eternity and reincarnation. He planted a selection of birches around the village to symbolize new beginnings. And finally, he planted an oak tree, the symbol of the druid itself, in a clearing near the village to cement his connection to the place. Often, oaks would be put in the village square in the centre of the village, but Petren felt that might come across as a little self-aggrandizing. So just outside the village it was.
So sweet. It's just a really lovely fact.
Thanks.
It's something clever to say, but I don't.
No, it's in its way, it's a terrible fact because it's really hard to attack.
Which is, of course,
it's a fact that's gone big on defense.
First time in 71 chapters, someone's come up with a fun fact that is just uniformly good.
I mean, I'm working on something that Vander obviously wasn't a massive fan of Seraphina, so maybe there's a horrible in, but...
She's dead, though. You don't want to be the guy who badmouths the dead.
That's why I left the thought hanging, because, you know, that's a road I can't tread.
Can't compartmentalize the grove between, like, Augustus's bit and Seraphina's bit. And be shitty about Seraphina's section.
Well, you say you can't. I mean, we haven't tried, Shag, so I don't want to say no.
Exclusively on the right side of the grove only.
Or one half of every tree.
Never the left side of the tree.
Hi, I'm Harry, and I play Tock, an imposing 6'8" automaton. And Tock is experiencing a low level of background anxiety because it has been 109 days since the party first entered the interplanar rift in the Citadel, and Tock still has Benny's shears. So Tock has tried to estimate the length that Benny's hair will have grown to in the intervening time, and so far he's narrowed down the window to between 1 and 20 feet.
So in Tock's mind, he might just be getting caught in things at this point.
It's very difficult to say. The humans, they change quite frequently, especially the party. It makes calculating very difficult.
So Benny just essentially looks like Cousin It from the Addams Family at this point.
He just couldn't replace the technology of shears.
Yep. He said it was the only thing he trusted to cut his hair.
I get how Tock might have that as a concern.
Yeah. Interesting that Tock experiences low-level anxiety as well.
Yeah.
We need to work out how to kick that up to high level.
That's the spirit. Go team.
Well, he's got a child now, so I dare say it'll be a high-level anxiety pretty soon.
Some housekeeping. Don't forget to check out our companion podcasts, Extra Roll and Around the Campfire, our Discord server, the Dicecord, the greatest community in all of TTRPGs, our official website, dicecompanypodcast.com, for merchandise, and follow us on Bluesky, TikTok, and YouTube. Links for these can be found in the show notes. And please remember, what I need to hear you say, that I'm thoughtless and foolish. But see, it's not too late. Now, I don't know exactly where we go from here, but trying is the only way to know. And I want to come back home. So let's turn the page on the next chapter of Dice Company. Previously on Small Embers. Following the aftermath of the events of Frost Hollow, the Order of the Heron took a long, well-deserved break. Vander disappeared, as he is wont to do, but returned months later with a lead on a potential Alokian benediction in his hometown of Shale, on the northern coast of Athlon, where the regions of Habia and Lunapar meet. Okay, so in terms of landing spots... There are three obvious places. You could land in the mysterious wooded area outside the city to the south. It's safe but relatively distant to the city. You could plonk the Sterling into the sea to the north at the bottom of the cliffs, which is incredibly well hidden, but the waves do look quite violent, so it's potentially dangerous. Or you could just land directly into the city itself. There is a large city square outside Mourner's Keep, which is risky and obvious.
So if we landed in the sea, would it be obvious we're an airship, or would we be able to pass as a sailing ship pretty easily?
You'd be able to pass easily. I mean, you look like a sailing ship.
So we could just park in the sea a little way off the coast and sail in like a sailing ship. I mean, hypothetically. Tock has no opinion.
Is there a harbour?
There is an obvious harbour area to the east of the city, which Vander will know as Greyport.
I think it best we approach as if we were a naval vessel. I don't want to stir the attentions of the inhabitants too roughly, as I may have some loose ends in the city I do not wish to disturb.
I'm happy to take your lead on that one, Vander. I don't have a strong opinion about how to land airships.
Of course, Petren.
And Vander guides the ship down with the hope of trying to crest the waves before it's a safe distance from the harbour, so we can sail in as if we weren't anything more than a regular vessel.
Are there any other boats in the harbour?
The harbour is completely empty. With the automaton's help and the rest of your team, you're able to guide the Sterling onto the crest of a particularly violent wave at night time, which then cruises it like a sailing galleon into Greyport.
And Petren looks absolutely thrilled by this operation, by the way. he's delighted about being on the airship. He's finding it absolutely fascinating.
You are correct, Petren. There is a form of mastery at play, as my last maneuver demonstrates magnificently.
And Vander gives you a 3-tooth smile.
Well, I have some power over the elements, you see, but water's the one that I've got the weakest control over, so I'm always fascinated by the power of it. It's extraordinary to me. Look at those waves crash against those cliffs.
It is indeed an awing sight, Petren, but we will make a sailor of you yet.
So you guys pull in. You can hear the sound of cawing seabirds, even at night, overhead, as you pull into what appears to be an abandoned grey port.
I should say that Shale lost its navy some time ago, so do not be too afeard of the bleak silhouette of the port.
Vander, will the lack of other ships draw attention to the Sterling?
Difficult to say, Tock. I'm not familiar with any revived trade the city may have achieved since my absence. First appearances, though, suggest maybe the city remains in considerable difficulty.
Vander, I detect movement in the harbor. Multiple humans. They wear silver masks. Caution, Vander.
At Tock's words, all eyes turn towards the dark and shadowy harbour, and all of you see a number of shadows, humanoid, scurrying away from you, up towards the city proper.
Not a positive sign, I'm afraid, boys. Nevertheless, we should approach as if nothing is amiss.
What were they, Vander?
I confess I am not sure, but I do know that the city is possessed of a police force of sorts known as the Whisperers. I should say, though, that they are called such because they are not obvious, which suggests to me that we may have seen something altogether different.
Clandestine activity would suggest thievery, collusion, organized crime.
Of course, Tock, that was most perceptive. Thank you for narrowing the field of skullduggery.
I have been reading about human activities in hives.
They look, when they're shadowy figures, they look like human people. They didn't look like actual shadows. They did look like people.
People. Yeah.
Are we sure they're not revelers, Vander? Do people dress up for Renaissance Day?
Renaissance Day is full of costumes, but no, Petren, I do not believe they were part of the festivities.
Have you ever seen people in silver masks around the town before?
Not in pleasant circumstances, no, Seeksorrow.
What about in unpleasant circumstances?
Too many to remember the specifics. I suggest we venture forth into my old city and enjoy some of the festivities before finding a place to rest our weary heads before a hard day's graft tomorrow.
And will we be aiming for your old house or anything, Vander? Have you got family in town? Or do we need to find an inn or something like that?
For tonight, I suggest we find an inn. I confess I am not sure how my resurrection will be received by my dear father.
Well, it's Renaissance Day, after all.
That is rather unlike you, Petren, if I may say.
I don't know where that came from, really. I just popped into my mind. That's the words had a shared meaning.
Not at all. I rather enjoyed it.
Cuthbert told me.
I can't imagine your dad, Vander. What's he like?
Old and forbidding, Seeksorrow.
Well, fair enough. Let's go and meet him.
Well, meet him you shall. But first, let me show you some of my old city. I imagine few will recognize me as I am now.
And Vander gives you a shambling bow that's just as grotesque as you could possibly imagine.
All right, then, sounds fun. And Seeksorrow just reaches round in a kind of gesture that he does when he's enjoying himself but a bit nervous, and just feels that the axe is on his back. He just taps the axe just to make sure it's there before going off for this night of frolicking.
Yeah, Petren's quite enthused and ready for Vander to lead the way. He's quite excited to see what new sights there are in this town.
You are on the northern east side of the city, or section of the city, and there is a long pathway that leads along the coast into the city. There is a large lake on the left-hand side, and the sea is on the right-hand side.
So like a lagoon on one side and the sea on the other, I guess.
Exactly.
A sandbar to walk along.
Beautiful, is it not?
Yeah, it's quite nice. I prefer, frozen forest areas really, but it's all right.
Well, perhaps the abundance of pickpockets will make you feel more at home, Seeksorrow.
Well, it'll be one less if anyone tries to pick my pocket.
I don't doubt it. Very useful to have one such as you among us.
Oh, thank you very much, Vander.
A pleasure. Now, let us sally forth.
Shall we follow along the cart tracks, Vander?
A sound suggestion, Tock.
And you make your way in a westerly direction towards the city of Shale. As you approach, you hear music getting louder and louder, and the shouts and cheers of revelers enjoying Renaissance Day. It sounds bawdy, exciting, and a little bit unhinged. You approach the main gate to the east of the city, which is open, and there are no guards. But you can begin to see people in the streets. Some are carrying torches, others are dressed up in ridiculous outfits, some have incredible headdresses. Everyone seems to be holding a bottle and are drinking, singing, dancing, and basically just enjoying the festivities.
Does it mostly seem to be humanoids, or is there a mixture?
Almost all the revelers you can see are humans.
I think as a almost a reflex, I think Petren is going to change his form somewhat to appear smaller and more humanoid.
Gentlemen, I fear that it is imperative we fit in amongst our new comrades in order not to draw attention to ourselves. We need a drink.
Vander, query. Are there automatons in Shale?
Few to none, Tock. Few to none.
I will remove myself from sight, Vander. And Tock is not going to go into the bag of holding. He takes out a large black cloak and steps through it, leaving the cloak to fall onto the floor.
Beautiful. Quite right, quite right.
Sorry. No. What?
You hear a muffled voice saying, "Would someone please pick up the cloak?"
Seeksorrow picks up the cloak and then looks at it and then turns it round and looks at the other side to figure out where Tock's gone. How did you do that, Mr. Tock?
It looks like a normal black cloak.
You in there, Tock, somehow?
That is correct, Seeksorrow. I have my workshop in here.
All right. I see. What should I do? Wear the cloak? Tie it up in put it in my pocket?
Either would be acceptable.
Oh well, Seeksorrow sweeps the cloak around his shoulders. He feels he's got to be dressed up for the occasion anyway. You got any hats, Vander? I feel like it's a day for a hat.
Vander, amused, ruffles in his robes and produces a Stetson. I don't even know what a Stetson is, so maybe I need to.
Like it's cowboyish hat.
Oh, okay. Well, no, you could.
Yeah, that's right. Seeksorrow sweeps the cowboy hat onto his head, admires his cloak and cowboy hat combo, and obviously doesn't know what a cowboy is and carries on.
Hasn't been to Nebuchadnezzar, clearly.
No. Home of Lord Sloom.
And Petren leans into the cloak and says, I don't mean to be rude, Tock, but when I said that I was worried that you might be a blasphemy against nature, it's this sort of thing that I was talking about.
Petren, please define blasphemy.
Against what's right, against the natural order of things. How have you done this, Tock? This doesn't align with any magic I've ever seen before. It's not done by the medium of any of the elements or by plants or herbal concoctions. How have you done it?
That is correct, Petren. It is right, if by right you mean orthogonal to nature.
I don't know what orthogonal means, Tock. I know I used the word Renaissance effectively earlier, but this one's a step too far for me.
My apologies, Petren. Maybe I wasn't clear, but arguing with an item of clothing doesn't count as fitting in, as I would see it.
Yeah, leave my cloak alone.
Petren shakes his head and said, "You said something about a drink, Vander. I wonder if this might not be a bad idea, actually."
Ah, yes, and the compass ever points true north in the end. Let us try the nearest tavern.
Vander casts around.
And you find a magnificent tavern that you know very well, Vander. And the name of the tavern is the Shaggy Captain.
Ah, the Shaggy Captain! Many a year since I've seen the glory of the inside of that magnificent place of liquor. Come, boys, let's get a drink.
You push the door and enter and are met with a barrage of music. And to your amazement, inside there are a group of people dancing magnificently to the music,
Vander shuffles and kind of elbows his way towards the bar.
where you see a tall and handsome woman in her 30s. Hello there!
Good evening. I was wondering if we could have some of your ale, please.
Of course you can. I like your outfits. They look very nice.
Why, thank you. We take the celebration of the Renaissance most seriously.
Of course you do. Of course you. We all do. Here. And she pours out 3 pints and slides it across her. Free of charge. Happy Renaissance Day.
And to you.
And Vander treats her to an ingratiating smile.
Oh.
Oh, yes.
And Vander then passes the drinks out to the group.
Cheers, everyone. Happy Renaissance Day.
Indeed.
Raises his glass and takes a deep draught.
Seeksorrow too.
Just waiting for the constitution check.
No, not this time. Not this time. You guys are going to be whipped up in the frenzy of excitement. So you don't, when you're drinking and it's an amazing night, and so you don't actually get that drunk. You just kind of go with the vibe. I feel like that's what's happening now.
Vander's already begun to sway with the music and leans in again.
Do you feel the rhythm of the music, boys? It's been too long. Rather catchy, don't you think?
Yeah, there was a posh guy back in Frostallow who used to sometimes nick the bagpipes from behind the bar, and he'd play all kinds of weird music. But this is a lot better. I wonder what happened to him. Not seen him for a while.
Who can say? But, Seeksorrow, I can tell you that it is somewhat of a tradition in my home city to dance on the tables. Particularly athletic males will push others off the table to claim their dancing supremacy.
Oh, sounds brilliant.
Give it a try.
Seeksorrow goes, "Hold this," and he gives the massive axe to Vander, taking no account of the fact that Vander almost certainly can't hold it. Leaps is a 2-footed jump, sort of like a frog hop, straight up onto one of the tables, taking no account of the drinks that are on there. Seeksorrow's caught up at this point.
Vander turns to Petren.
Petren, the police force here are a secretive bunch. I am guilty of slight subterfuge. If Seeksorrow does, as I suspect he will, they will of course identify themselves if they are here.
Petren's not paying much attention because he wants to get up on the table as well. So
As he does that, Vander looks at him and simply says,
Bugger.
he follows Seeksorrow's lead, hands Vander his enormous sickle,
which also drops to the floor.
jumps up on the table to join in the dancing.
Let's have a couple of performance checks just for the fun of it.
I think Seeksorrow at this point might be trying to do that, that Russian dancing thing where you crouch down and then jump up again and bounce from foot to foot, sticking your legs out alternately.
I mean, you could do an athletics check instead if you want.
Yeah, sure. I think I'm better at that. 19 for athletics.
Nice.
And Petren's just in the leg horse.
Classic.
Oh, that's an 8.
At advantage, 8. I mean, that does kind of fit the bill. It's hard to see how Petren would be a good on-the-table dancer. I mean, to be fair, it's if the table's even still standing.
So while Seeksorrow is doing the Russian dancing, kicking his legs out in incredibly athletic manner. Next to him is Petren, who's kind of stumbling on one foot, holding his leg, doing the leg horse, but kind of, he's very uneven, hand on the table constantly, but he's smiling broadly and having a fantastic time.
Does he look like your drunk uncle attempting to remember the moves to the Macarena?
Yeah.
Vander looks down at the pint he's taken only a sip of.
Seeksorrow kicks it away by accident.
The barmaid slides another one across to you.
May I ask what is in these?
It's just ale.
And what percentage of alcohol would you estimate this particular ale possesses?
Ooh, you're one of them fancy ones. All right, let me check. Hang on. And she looks down at the barrel. It says here 48%. I don't really know mathematics. Is 48% about right?
A little puzzle piece is sliding into place. My thanks.
And Vander turns concerned back at the tables.
Just then, a reveller wraps his arm around Vander's shoulder and begins, like, singing but yelling in your face in an attempt to try and get you to sing along with him.
The reveller looks down to find a flintlock just placed very lightly against his cheek. And Vander, ever so close.
Very kind of you to entreat me to join you, but maybe you should dance elsewhere.
And Seeksorrow jumps down off the table, seeing this, and grabs the guy and tries to kind of wheel him and dance him across the bar away from Vander.
And so a moment of shock and creeping horror at the sight of the flintlock is replaced immediately with joy at dancing with Seeksorrow
Just call us shock and awe.
across the bar.
It's the new stick and carrot.
The flintlock, of course, disappears.
The flintlock disappears as though it was never there.
Vander, your passive perception allows you to see a figure not joining in the revelry. He stood by the door with a tankard in his hand, and he just seems to be watching the room.
Vander turns back to the barmaid.
I don't suppose you have any rooms left this night?
On Renaissance Day, at this time of night, with the revelry happening, yes, I do. How many do you need?
4, if we may.
Okay, what name should I put down?
3 beings and a robot who we're going to have to explain why he needs a room.
Well, the robot's not there because
Well,
he's
exactly.
in your cloak.
So 3 humanoid beings and a cloak.
And a spare.
Glib,
Glib,
Windsleeve,
Windsleeve,
Yes.
Hammerhawk, and Borden.
Who is who? Maybe you pointed at each of us as you said those names.
Was he pointing at a cloak for one of them?
Oh, God.
Okay, Mr. Hammerhawk.
Vander takes it. It's all going too fast, but there we go.
Here are the keys. You have a great time now.
I'm in your debt.
And Vander turns back to the person he believes to be a whisperer.
And as you look back, they are gone.
Bugger.
Seeksorrow attempts a really difficult cartwheel.
Give me an acrobatics check.
13?
It's possible.
Fair enough. I'm happy with that.
You know, you can see the vague shape of it. It's fairly solid. It gets a round of applause, though, from the people in the shaggy captain. They are a big fan.
Seeksorrow raises his arms to acknowledge the applause.
And Petren hops down from the table and says, "Oh, Vander, this is wonderful, this celebration. I've never really experienced a proper human festival before. Is there anything in particular going on? Is there a parade or a central point where people will gather? I'd like to experience as much of it as I can."
How enchanting, Petren. There will be a gathering outside and a number of delicacies to try, if indeed you can keep them down after your tipple.
We just had the one ale, Vander, and well, not even one yet. I think I'll be all right. Still, I'm merry. I'm excited, Vander. It's an adventure, isn't it?
I cannot refute that.
And Vander looks at Petren And then an expression of kind of madness crosses his face as he too takes a deep drink of the ale, realizing that all kinds of plans needs to go out the window at this point.
And Seeksorrow appears at Vander's side and like puts an arm like round his neck, like a sort of little brother thing, as if he's gonna do that. What's that called when you like rub your knuckles on someone's hair?
A noogie, isn't it?
A noogie.
A noogie. He doesn't do that, but he like grabs Vander around the neck and goes, yeah! And then just wheels away across the pub again.
Vander is about as into this as he can be, so his feet are tapping and he's kind of bobbing side to side, though of course he's unsteady on his feet.
As you're enjoying the evening, all of the revelers in the pub begin to break out into the same song. It's an old Shale folk song that everyone knows the words to, and Vander, you would know the words to as well.
Vander is belting them out, joining in with the festivities now from the sidelines.
The music is playing, and all of a sudden the world begins to seem like a blur. Like, it's hectic and exciting and fun, and everyone's having a whale of a time. And for the first time in a long time, none of you are thinking about any of the adventures that you've had, any of the stresses or strains. It's just a wonderful time. And then the door opens and you're all hit with the smell of roasting meat being cooked in the street outside. And the pub begins to empty as everyone else follows the smell.
Seeksorrow is piling out with the crowd.
Petren's right behind him.
And Vander shuffles along as well, knowing what comes next.
Sausages! Sausages! Come get your no refund all parts sausages. You know that they're all parts, that means that they're legitimate. My name's Nottle. Come and get your sausages.
Boys,
Vander chirps up excitedly
come and try this. A rare delicacy.
as he shuffles madly in the direction of no refund Nottle's all-part sausages.
Seeksorrow, you hear a message in your head saying, "Caution, Seeksorrow. I detect the burning flesh of multiple species of animals."
So Seeksorrow talks to his own armpit and goes, "Multiple species, Tock? Is it not just all pig?"
Pig is one of the species. I also detect rat and rabbit and pigeon.
All right, thanks, Tock. And Seeksorrow bustles up to Vander and just imparts that knowledge.
Ah, clearly an upgrade. The sausages contain some level of pork.
Do you know this guy, Vander? You bought stuff from him before?
Very well. His delicacy is a culinary mystery of the city. You can't sample Shale without sampling one of No Refund Nottle's all-parts sausages.
So Seeksorrow tucks his head under his own wing again. Tock, do you think it's safe?
Can you observe... yeah, how do I answer? Seeksorrow, can you observe humans consuming the flesh?
Yeah, I'd say so. Looks like it. Lots of humans.
I would estimate it to be of delayed poison.
10 sausages, please, mate.
There's a man who knows what he wants. Coming right up.
Seeksorrow, hunger has overwhelmed his caution, and he's up for lots of sausages.
That will be 10 silver, please. No refunds, remember. But no need to worry. They're all parts sausages. Legit.
That's wonderful. I tend not to eat a great deal of meat because I'm generally against the killing of an animal, but you seem to have understood that if you're going to kill an animal for nourishment and food, you need to use all parts of it. That's the real show of respect for the animal whose life you've taken. If you use its skin for your clothing, if you use its bones for your broth, if you use all parts of the animal for its meat so nothing's wasted, that's the most respectful thing you can do. So I admire you for creating these all-parts sausages, and I look forward to trying them.
You admire me? And he looks around at the rest of you. Is he all right?
Clearly not. But you heard the man.
Well, thank you, big fella. I appreciate the kind words. Here's a sausage, and I'll give you a discount. 1 silver.
Thank you very much.
I've got 10 gold only. So how do I take that off to make 10 silver gone?
That's fine, mate. I got change for that.
But what's the check? How many silvers?
10 for 10, I think. And
Don't worry about that. You give it to me. I'll sort it out.
One moment.
And the gnarled hand of Vander shoots out with 10 silver, which is a lot.
Thank you very much. Remember, no refunds. Lovely. You enjoy these all-parts sausages. You look new to me. I don't recognise any of you. New to town? Just come to enjoy the Renaissance?
Yes, quite new. The memory of being ripped off by you is still fairly fresh.
Oh, have we met before?
I don't believe so.
Oh, I'm no refund Nottle.
No pleasure. Would you mind passing me one of those cups?
Of course. And he reaches down, grabs a cup and hands it to you.
And Vander takes the sausage gravy and presses it into the cup until it is a sausage gravy paste, which he then slurps.
Oh, that's an interesting way of doing it. Look at what he's doing, everyone. And he starts drawing the attention of the crowd. What we've got here is the first ever, no refund, all parts sausage soup. A round of applause for the man.
And Vander raises his glass high, enjoying the moment of attention.
Seeksorrow claps enthusiastically.
While that's happening, you notice that no refund Nottle has taken a piece of chalk, and for the kind of blackboard that's behind him, he adds sausage soup and then just puts 2 silver.
Seeksorrow, I have devised a process that will take 10 minutes. It will remove any poison, disease, pathogens, parasites from the flesh.
Oh, I've already eaten 6.
Anyone else hear that voice coming out of that fella's cloak?
Oh, that's just me, mate. I'm a puppet show guy.
Amazing. Give us another performance. Where's your puppet?
It's in the cloak.
Get it out, come on. It's Renaissance Day. Now's the time for performances. Bit of street theatre. Lovely.
5 silver.
Says Vander.
Ooh. How good is it?
Oh, you won't believe how well he can throw his voice.
Yeah, it's a puppetless puppet show I do.
Puppetless puppet show. How does that work exactly?
Well, 5 silver.
Give me a persuasion check.
I don't know. I would like to persuade him not to ask for the puppetless puppet show.
You can roll persuasion to persuade him not to take you up on it. That's fine.
All right. A natural 20.
Wow, what do you do?
It's a little bit steep for me, but, you know, maybe later. Once I've had a couple more drinks.
Oh, great. Sounds good.
I'd quite like to see it as well, Seeksorrow. It sounds very exciting.
Say something, Tock.
What would you like me to say, Seeksorrow?
There you go, Petren. That's 5 silver, please.
All right, I suppose. Petren starts counting out the money.
No, that's all right. You keep your money.
And Nottle's eye is drawn to your purse as you take out the 5 silver. Another sausage? I've just added sausage soup to the menu. 2 silver.
It's very, very kind of you, but I'm really just trying out new things, and 1 sausage was enough for me, thank you. I'd like to see what other experiences are on offer on this festival.
I get you. Say no more. Not my first time around the block. Wink, wink.
Petren hasn't got the faintest what he's talking about. What would you recommend on Renaissance Day? What are the highlights?
Oh, that is a good question, which I'm ill prepared. Obviously there's the March of the Flaming Torches. That's particularly good.
Oh, that does sound good.
And we've got the fireworks display happening over us right now.
Oh yeah, I've been admiring that for a while. It's gone on for a long time, hasn't it? Very impressive.
And of course there's the big bonfire in the square outside Mourner's Keep as well. That's at the end though. It's not till the end.
Please say they burn Vander.
And we obviously burn an effigy of the enemy.
Right you are.
Who's the enemy? Forgive me asking. I'm new in town.
Betrayer.
Ask away. You know the enemy, the other.
And what time will the will the burning be?
Got a couple of hours yet. There's still plenty of festivities to be had. We got the marching band, mainly bagpipes. Excellent music. Really get you in the spirit.
Sorry, sausage guy. You said the other. Who is the others?
The enemy from other places.
Okay. Anyone in particular? Just everyone from everywhere else. It feels like I might have stumbled into the wrong town for tourism.
No. You're welcome. You fit right in, don't you? No, just other people. You guys must know other people, right?
I am very familiar. The history could not be clearer, Nottle.
See?
Fair enough. Clear as a sausage.
Sausage?
Sure, thanks.
How many's that now?
That's 11. What's a fatal dose?
I think I need a constitution saving throw at this point. I think if it was 11 well-cooked sausages, I'd probably need one anyway.
Okay. 25.
Oh. I mean, it's barely even filled a hole. You're still a little bit peckish, to be honest.
Yeah, Seeksorrow gives him a big grin and just takes a bonus sausage. He was so persuasive a minute ago, he's confident he's now allowed a free sausage.
It's that 12 sausage that's going to do you.
You explode. Yeah. Can I have perception checks from everyone? Disadvantage for those who've been drinking, please.
All those on another dimension.
Oh yeah, those on another dimension, probably not worth rolling.
That's a 9 for Seeksorrow.
And a 7 for Petren.
24 for Vander.
At
Unbelievable.
disadvantage?
At disadvantage. I rolled 2 24s.
Wow.
So you got 5 for perception. So you rolled 2 19s there on D20s?
Yeah.
Wowza.
That's amazing. That is the hometown advantage right there.
Okay.
Now, does Cloak Tock get to perceive things?
I think we decided maybe that's a bit, unless it's hearing and very close to Seeksorrow. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely not.
Okay.
So while the rest of you are enjoying the sausages and talking with no refund Nottle, Vander, out the corner of your eye, you see a familiar face. It's a kind of youngish human with a pronounced scar on his face. He's wearing a hood and he moves through the streets about 60 feet away from you. He gives you one quick glance. You recognise his face, but you can't quite peg where it's from. If you'd like to do a knowledge or wisdom-based check to see if you can remember it.
I am going to access my many memories that for so long I've locked away of this place to see if I can remember him from my past.
Okay.
I mean, from your description, it sounds like Benny. And if it turns out to be Benny, and you know you've met him, but you can't quite place where from, I'm going to be pissed off.
It can't be Benny, his hair's too short.
You see Benny dragging a train of hair behind him, desperately looking for Boffo.
Where do I remember
Searching for those, the endless search for shears. Yeah.
Fans of the show may remember we had a character called Benny, but they probably won't be able to quite place him.
That's a wisdom of 17.
Sort of a fail, but you definitely recognise the face and you remember it. It's not a face you recognise from any memories of Shale. This is a face that you recognise from Lunadyne. Oh. It is the face of the Bounder who infiltrated your warehouse when you first met Augustus, Tock and Benny.
But right at the very beginning.
The one whose fingers you took off.
And you say he's noticed me?
He's looking at you.
I think there is a small problem, boys. We may need to address this with some haste.
What's that, Vander? Seeksorrow looks at the sausages.
There is a man over there we almost certainly need to inhume.
Seeksorrow glances wildly around and tries to remember what inhume means.
Petren's got nothing.
He's peaked with Renaissance.
Follow my lead.
So Vander's just going to have to make straight forward.
As you move towards him, his eyes widen and he spins, lifts his hood and begins to sprint away into the crowd.
Have any of the others observed him?
Yeah, we're drunk and we don't know who he is.
But I've only actually had like one sip of ale. I got straight up on the table.
48%.
11 sausages though, right?
12 now.
Oh, there's 12, sorry, 12.
Bellerophon!
And Vander pulls Bellerophon from his cloak and throws him out into the crowd.
Follow that man.
Oh dear. After your incredible words, Bellerophon leaps from your shoulder down onto the floor and very slowly works his way through the crowd as the guy sprints into the mass of people. By the time Bellerophon reaches where the guy was, it's been like 20 seconds. And he is long gone.
I deserve that for deploying a fighter in place of a spy.
Bellerophon is now stood where the figure was and is just looking around, licking his own eye.
Okay, well, Vander's going to shamble over and pick Bellerophon up.
You did your best.
Lick.
Petren hurries up and says, well, was that a friend of yours, Vander, from the old days or something? Hoping to catch up?
Sadly not, Petren. That was a bounder. One who was sadly injured during an altercation we had some time ago. I suspect it likely that he means us ill.
Query, Vander, is that the bounder that you tortured and removed digits?
You did what?
Ah, yes, you were there, Tock. That is a fair summary.
It really is an excellent puppet show.
And Seeksorrow now looks at two of the sausages that he's holding and thinks they're suddenly less appealing. Now everyone's talking about cutting off fingers.
No refunds.
Fair enough.
And a bounder is a bit like a blue cloak, isn't it?
Correct, Petren.
Oh dear, that does sound tricky. Well, I suppose he's gone now. And, the parade's starting quite soon, so maybe we should just forget about the whole sorry business and enjoy the fire?
It is who he has gone to inform that vexes me, Petren.
Well, who might that be?
Well, this place has been under Empire control for some considerable time. It stands to reason that if that bounder is here, he is still in the employ of the Emperor, and such that he will inform his masters.
Ah,
Yes. Ah.
I suppose you'll be wanting to know where he's gone.
You join me on the same page of concern.
Well, Vander, during the time we spent in Sanctuary, I've been working on a few things, magic-wise, and I wonder if I might be able to help you out with that.
I am all ears, Petren.
So, I might try out scrying.
Someone has been doing some research.
Good lord.
Badass.
So, you can see and hear a particular creature you choose that is on the same plane of existence as you. Target must make a wisdom saving throw, modified by how well you know the target and the sort of physical connection you have to it. What would you say in terms of the modifier, Dom?
You don't know the target and don't really have a physical connection.
No, kind of cinematic glance, haven't I?
Yeah.
I can tell you that the target is missing fingers on one hand, which is quite unique.
I know Vander used to live here. There's probably quite a few people with that.
I'll tell you what. If you can tell me his name, then I'll knock the modifier off.
His name is Aloe.
Oh
my
God! Holy!
That just came to me in a flash of inspiration.
Oh my god! He is actually scrying.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll take that as a team success then, and we won't add the +5 modifier to his roll. Very impressive. Okay. So you're attempting it. I will now attempt the save. Which is a 17.
Meets it, beats it, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
tough times.
So you attempt to cast scrying. This is the first time you've ever done anything like this, and you're doing it on a character that you only briefly glimpsed at.
While lightly pissed.
Well, yeah, lightly drunk. Yep. For a moment, you see kind of flashes of images, like the spell is about to work. You can see a basement. You can see the figure looking at his hands, and he looks up and he sees two other figures, but the figures are kind of distorted and blurred. And then the spell ends. You're unable to gather where he is, but you know that he's with two other figures.
And Petren says, "Oh, I was so close. Oh, I need to work on it a bit more. I think he's in a basement, perhaps. So, I think I saw a couple of other people with him, but I couldn't get a proper grip on it. I'm afraid I haven't quite got where he is.
This is bad news indeed, Petren. For us to achieve our goals here, we must continue to work in the shadows. I fear we must deal with this problem tonight, one way or another. And I think I've got just the thing.
And we will end it there.
You've been listening to Dice Company's Small Embers, starring Dave Windust as Petren Oakflower, Alex Morrison as Seeksorrow, Charlie Blackadder as Vander Finnick, and Harry King as Tock, with Tom Patrick as your Dungeon Master.
The humans of Dice Company would like to thank the following sweethearts for their support: Zeus Legion, Zero Nova, Sepulchre Stennet, Marky B, Jenny the War Camel, Stephen Sikora, Nori Gosler, Mickey Arnold, Happy Daddy Scotty, Tika, SJ Phionix, Richard Ungamus, Rabbi Camel, Team Stay Toxic, Path Pursuit, Paris Pakar, Liz Beckett, Julia Zeno, Shovels, Queenie, and a special extra thanks to our very own Council of Rojan, Mama Strange, Axel Runholm, and Chris from North London.
So let's turn the page on the next chapter of Dice Company.
They not like it being changed.
They do not. I got quite the diatribe for changing it. So it doesn't fit, it doesn't scan, it's rubbish. When did you change it?
You change things and now they're wrong. So the cloak is, for all the rest of you, is a portable hole, and it can contain the other members of the party.
Oh, cool! So we can all get in the cloak.
It's basically like the bag of holding, but significantly bigger. And
there's oxygen.
You can stay in there for 10 minutes before you begin to suffocate.
Well,
Handy.
I mean, that sounds like it. No safety concerns there at all.
Yeah.
But it's got oxygen in it.
Tock,
Vander says as he's at the helm.
Yes, Vander.
I may have forgotten the date. Please tell me what.
Oh, sorry, I don't know what's going on with my voice there. 1 second.
Blah, 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 blah. Tock. Please do remind me of the...
I don't know what.
That was weirder than the last one.
Give me something Vandery. What the hell?
Children love me. Children love me.
There we go.
A little bit more Vandery.
Please say Vander rolls a 2. And I hope he rolls a 13 for persuasion. Oh, that's perfect.
This is so difficult. It's on a different browser because
I mean,
You're doing fine, dude.
They are right next to each other, and it's tiny, tiny little writing.
I think we're having one of those perfect storms tonight.
Yeah.
And there's every kind of problem. So I think it's one of those. I think it's time to Hail Mary this shit and go read. We're definitely reading Blitz. Right, I'll see you in 2.
There's a series of alerts, little flags that are waving that are suggesting it's not a good night for recording. What with Charlie unable to actually do the Vander voice, Dave being a grumpy old sod, me fumbling over my lines, you being silent, and Harry, you've been pretty good actually.
I don't know what happened to the voice. Like Fuck it, why don't we just give it a go? I'm up for just trying it and doing a short episode.
Yeah, come on.
Let's just see. Let's just give it a go. Like, everyone just fucking power through this.
A-game time.
We got this.
Screw you, fate. We're doing it anyway.
Yeah, exactly. This could work.
A global breakdown of Audacity. By the way, I didn't Audacity at the very beginning, Don.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
More red flags. More red flags. Okay.
I've got a 2-part Audacity file because I had to turn off my computer halfway through.
Awesome.
And I caught everything apart from my own intro fact.
Fuck's sake! Lore.
Thanks for listening. Please consider supporting Dice Company on Patreon, where for the price of a cup of coffee, you get access to a whole other show, Extra Roll, as well as an ad-free listening experience. The Dice Company Discord server, along with our socials, can be found on our link tree in the show notes. If you enjoyed this chapter, please like and subscribe, and don't forget to recommend us to your friends. If you didn't like it, recommend us to your enemies. And we'll see you next time on Dice Company.